Satya Dharma Reflection on May the 4th, 2022. By itself, then it will not be only about maintaining and thinking. By itself, that is not about anything within itself. It's not about anything within itself. This will dissolve the habit of the delusive attachment which hanging and clinging to states of mind and state of Dharma attainment within the mind. This is the symptoms of the mind, or all about the system of the mind. Then it will not be about anything within the mind or the heart. By itself, this will end within no time. In all the length and the short, by itself, it is not about anything within itself. Disregard within itself. Disregard from itself. Itself that is not about anything within itself. This will be brightening without traces, purifying all by itself, which is assumed up to be called purification of the extinction and the emptiness. It will be according to that, all by itself. In other words, there is terminology that is called helping through unwinding and releasing. It will follow as such, all by itself. Nothing is within itself. This is the great Anupap or the mighty force. This is not just being obsessed to use the mind towards all things on and on. Any type of mind is all about karma and karmic difficulties. The mind that is used towards all things, it is just the relations from karma to karma. This is not helping through unwinding and releasing at all. There is only just adding more of karma and karmic difficulties of the mind, sharing towards one another back and forth, only about sharing of karma and karmic difficulties of the mind. The mano or the mind that share towards each other back and forth without purification within itself. Don't be obsessed to use the mind on and on. Don't be obsessed to give significance and meanings and involvement to the mind. Disregard from itself. By itself, that is not about anything within itself. Let's make a conclusion simultaneously as such. It will be simultaneous brightness that is natural for those who already form up to bless. The form up to bless doesn't have entrapment in itself. This is the form up to bless, which is sharing the brightness towards samsara in its nature. It will be according to such a brightness as it is itself that is not about anything within itself. That is the brightness that is automatic, purifying all by itself, nothing within there in itself. It purifies the selfishness. It purifies the sake of itself to cling, to hang on to the body and mind's elements. There will be automatic purification in itself. Let it happen on its own. All the desires and delusion that is dragging along, all the titi will be shortened down. Titi that is still dragging along by itself that is not about anything within itself, and within no time, not short nor length. No is not even no itself, is the same essence, and within no time. Listening again and again with the essence of uninvolved even within the uninvolved itself. And the Samudhaya, it's not becoming Samudhaya. Neither is long nor short, not dragging a long way. No is not even no itself. Then there will be simultaneous purification for all. The attributes of the attempt to give significance and meanings and involvements is the Samudhaya in itself. Let there be the purification simultaneously for the internal and the external. Dissolve all simultaneously. Let's make a conclusion to end the Samudhaya for the whole Samsara and the Samudhaya for the mind specifically. This is the personal Samudhaya, which is formed up as oneself. Or the Samudhaya of the whole physical world and Samsara at large. That is the external Samudhaya. Let's dissolve all these internal and external Samudhaya simultaneously. Itself that is not about anything within itself. It's not about anything within itself. Nothing is within the disregarding itself. The disregard has nothing within itself. The uninvolved is not about anything within itself. Internally and externally is simultaneous, sharing simultaneously, not before nor after, unless there is the delusion to create the discrimination within Tithi, within giving values of Tithi. Therefore, there is step, because there is the delusion to grasp. Without grasping, then it will be simultaneously sharing. Uninvolved, even within the uninvolved itself, is not about anything within the uninvolved itself. By itself, that is not about anything within itself. Nothing is within the disregard itself. Then it will not be obsessively creating paths and ways and methods on and on, Let's purify instantly through Sunyata Nibbana. Then it will be purification of the emptiness. Even though is not anything within itself, then it will end all that kind of regret of the delusive attachment to cling to state of mind, state of Dharma, regretting all this clinging, not totally giving up. Nothing is within the giving up itself. Giving up the giving up itself. Disregard is not about anything within itself. The disregard doesn't grasp itself. This will help through the unwinding and releasing, absolutely. Constantly share the deliberate cut through for samsara. Don't be obsessed just to take on one's own karmic retributions. Share the essence simultaneously, all the same. Open up the thought of sharing the essence. What are you taking on? Let's open up fully. Already said, the opening is itself the blessing. Don't be obsessed with taking on the karmic retributions within any state of mind, elements or whatever, the form up that is just temporary. Nothing is within the disregarding itself. The uninvolved as well is not about anything within itself. With this, it will not be stuck with just ending, ceasing, or extinction. Let's not be just stuck with the limitations of the karmic difficulties of the traditional values or belief values. So then it will be purifying through the extinction and emptiness without traces, ending simultaneously for the internal and the external. Simultaneous ending. It means that there is nothing within ending itself. To be obsessed with ending, it cannot be simultaneous. It's only just being specific for oneself. Nothing is within the ending, nothing is within the disregarding. To be just with disregarding, it will end just within oneself. This will not be balance for samsara. Let there be simultaneously ending for all. This is not just uninvolved. The uninvolved is not about anything within itself. Simultaneously, this will turn into purification of mahasunyata, of emptiness. Nothing is within the uninvolved itself. The disregard is not about anything within itself. Let's proceed on altogether in such a way, then there will be natural purification of the emptiness. To be deludedly disregarding, it will just be stuck with extinction within oneself, ending within oneself only. This is the karmic difficulties of the traditional belief values, which has happened from the past regarding the extinction, regarding the ending, liberation, nibbana. This is the viewpoint of nibbana. It has been in the belief values. It's a kind of karmic difficulties in such belief values. This is just the delusion to grasp within the belief values themselves. Therefore, it becomes specific. Just for oneself, disregard within oneself, uninvolved within oneself only. Therefore, let's purify instantly. Liberation is not about anything within itself. The emptiness is not about anything within itself. It will purify the belief values that has been set up towards the emptiness. Liberation is not about anything within itself. This will purify the karmic difficulties of the belief values in liberation that tries to be grasped. Even no is not about anything within itself. It will purify the belief values. All that selection within viewpoints. Being obsessed with belief values in selections. Yes, no, on and on. This is still the samudhaya within belief values in choosing regarding yes, no. This is it, this isn't it. Let's purify it instantly. Even no is not about anything within no itself. Then there will not be an obsession with yes and no towards anything, on and on. This will be purification of mahasunyata, of emptiness, without arguments, without invitations. Let's continue to purify onwards without invitation to bless at any times, at any eons of times. What is there to invite anything, to do anything? When there is a balance for all, everything will be the essence of the purification that happens at all times, all by itself. Uninvolved is not about anything within itself. Then there will not be an obsession with belief values in the way of choosing to involve or uninvolve with anything. The disregard is not about anything within itself. Then it will turn into the purification of the emptiness that happens simultaneously for samsara. Even know is not know itself. Well with it. Nothing is within know itself. To be deludedly believing it in the thinking and then sinking in that delusion onwards. Let's make a conclusion to purify the conclusion itself onwards. Disregard is not about anything within itself. Nothing within the disregard itself. Let there be the intensive, deliberate cut through as an essence to help samsara onwards. Don't be engrossed with one's own tithi, viewpoints and meanings. It's going to be circling on its own. Let's purify the tithi itself. Let's not be engrossed with tithi that doesn't purify itself.